I had some of my subscribers say that what's going on with Jussie Smollett right now is not our issue. Let the gay community deal with him and all things of that nature. Well, this video that I'm bringing to you right now is exactly why I say that y'all should be very careful when making a statement like that. So I came across this article and I shared it pretty much everywhere. I shared it on my Twitter and I shared it on my Facebook as well. And this is exactly why I said that what Jussie Smollett just did is going to greatly affect pretty much all of us at this point. So this man's name is Nick Zerwas or Zerwiz. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly or not. He is a legislator for the state of Minnesota, and he has now introduced something that he wants put into play where it's going to increase penalties for people who file or claim as false hate crimes. Now, we all know what has happened over the last year when you had a lot of white people, especially white women, making these police calls or 911 calls, calling the cops on black people for the dumbest of things. Now you have to question yourself, why didn't he want to implement something like this back then? Why did it take for, and I know some people are going to disagree when I say this because some people say he's not black, he's mixed. Listen, that mugshot says B for black. That's how they're going to identify him as such. It's no M for mixed or B for biracial. But they want to wait until the black guy does something like this to want to introduce this. Like, they're not pulling the wool over my eyes that easily. I see what's going on. This is even more reason for me not to really like Jussie at the moment. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article for you. It says a Minnesota legislator said Wednesday that he would introduce a proposal to toughen the penalty for falsely reporting hate crimes, citing a high-profile reported attack on a gay black actor in Chicago that was recently called into question. Representative Nick Zerwas, Republican of Elk River, described the measure expected later this session as a reasonable step to help deter individuals from filing false police reports and to make sure that we devote law enforcement's limited resources to investigating and prosecuting legitimate bias motivated crimes. Zerwas said he was motivated to help bring the issue forward after recent reports that police believe Empire actor Jussie Smollett may have staged a January attack by two masked men shouting racial and anti-gay slurs. Smollett has denied that claim through his lawyers. In recent days, Nick has written about the case in multiple posts on Twitter, describing it as a part of a recent rise in fake victimization and a symptom of media bias. As news reports continue to emerge, it is becoming increasingly clear that the highly publicized alleged hate crime in Chicago last month was a hoax, Zerwas said Wednesday. We need to send a message that similar hoaxes are not welcome in Minnesota, as they only seek to divide us and distract from legitimate acts of bias-motivated violence. Minnesota's current law makes it a misdemeanor to knowingly make a false report to law enforcement and a gross misdemeanor to falsely report criminal police misconduct. Zerwas wants to make it a gross misdemeanor, punishable of up to a year in jail and or a $3,000 fine, to falsely report a hate crime. The proposal would face long odds in a Democrat-controlled House where Majority Leader Ryan Winkler on Wednesday called it an attention-getting bill from a member in the minority. I don't think we need to create a chilling effect on people reporting hate crimes, which, if anything, is underreported. Senator Jeff Hayden of Minneapolis said more attention should be placed on actual hate crimes and actual injustice going on in communities and not every once in a while when somebody does something foolish. I would rather Representative Zerwas work with coalitions of people. His voice as a leader, his voice as a Republican, and his voice as a white man goes so much further in helping make sure we tell the state that when someone perpetuates a hate crime, that's something that they shouldn't do. Zerwas' legislative push comes amid an ongoing rise in reported hate crimes in Minnesota, and the country figures that are already widely viewed as failing to account for the actual rate of such crimes. A spokeswoman for the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which collects biased crime data from Minnesota agencies to send to the FBI, said local agencies do not submit data on false reports. Well, that's interesting. The FBI reported last year that hate crimes climbed more than 22% in Minnesota, up from 119 in 2016 to 146 in 2017. See, that goes back to a narrative that I was talking about before. Those 2 years right there, what happened in those years? That's when Trump was campaigning. In 2017 was his first year in office, and that's when all these hate crimes started to rise. And see, that's another reason why when Jussie did what he did, especially in this era of Trump and that whole "Make America Great Again" thing, that was not a good look. The Bureau relies on voluntary reporting from law enforcement agencies, but Minnesota law enforcement agencies approach classifying and reporting hate crimes differently. According to the FBI's latest report, more than 310 police agencies reported zero hate crimes in 2017. That included Bloomington, where members of an Illinois militia bombed the Dar al Farouk Islamic Center because, as one member later admitted, they wanted to intimidate Muslims. Brian Levin, director of the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism at California State University San Bernardino, said preliminary figures in a study of FBI hate crime data found fewer than 50 false reports nationwide out of an estimated 21,000 crimes tallied between 2016 and 2018. I have no problem with general laws respecting false reporting being enforced, Levin said, but I am concerned that an overreaction to minuscule problem will actually exacerbate the problem that there are real victims out there whose stories we don't hear and police reports don't classify. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I knew something told me something like this was going to come into the picture. Now, this is something he's trying to implement on a state scale. But like I always say, they always start small and then they work their way to a more larger thing. This is actually going to make it even harder for them to try to prove that these hate crimes even happen. And the thing is, it's already hard enough as it is. Even when you have stuff recorded on camera, on your video, on your phone, they'll still try to find a way to get somebody out of it. But now they're going to have a reason to try to really pressure you into saying or having solid proof, even if there is solid proof that a hate crime actually occurred. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.